Hey guys, welcome back to Margot Watches Movies. My name is Jake Margot. Tonight I'm going to be reviewing Weapons from director Zach Kreger, who's directed Barbarian and was also one of the faces of the sketch comedy group The Whitest Kids You Know. Weapons is a horror movie, and I'll give the briefest synopsis where essentially a specific classroom of children at an elementary school get up out of their beds, middle of the night, walk out to the street, and disappear. The teacher of the group, of the class, played by Julia Gardner of Ozark fame and was just the Silver Surfer in Fantastic Four, has finally found a script post Ozark worthy of her talents, and she becomes kind of the center of all these obviously distraught parents' ire. You also have Josh Brolin. You have Alden Ehrenreich in a really good role for him. I was happy to see him get a role of this size. And Benedict Wong rounding out the cast. I'm going to keep this very, very spoiler free. I want to get more into the technical aspect and the emotions. How did it make me feel? Was it scary? That type of thing. We'll get into a little bit of plot style and stuff in the back half of the film. I'll give you a warning about that, but I definitely think this is a film worth seeing blind. It's the less you know about this film, the better. Um, so, here we go. It's a horror movie. Was it scary? Yes, it was. Am I a Cody Leach YouTube movie review guy where like horror is like my specialty? No, I wouldn't even say it's a little less than a specialty for me. I've never really been a big horror guy. I've forced myself the last few years to start getting into horror because I'm a lightweight when it comes to it. I don't think this is like The Conjuring or Exorcist levels of like just terrifying, like blood curdling horror, but it is white knuckle tension, clenching your hands, clamminess, like it's inducing these feelings in you throughout the film. And at the root of it is the basic plot of the movie, which is a bunch of missing children, which is, I mean, it's very, just from the onset there, you have organic tension where anybody that is a normal human being is going to be worried and stressed about this mystery that has happened. And then the way that Zach Kreger directs this film, if you've seen Barbarian, you know that he can direct with style and aplomb, and he does in this movie. The way he rotates the camera, the way he stages and frames shots, at times his choice to have little to no lighting. I think people are going to be turned off watching this at home on streaming because it's going to be damn near impossible to see some of these scenes. They're so dark. It works in a theater. It would work on disc. Just warning you guys, when it comes to streaming, there's going to be certain scenes where you're going to be feeling like you're watching with 3 pairs of sunglasses on. But I think it adds to the atmosphere, and that's really where this movie succeeds. Is it is drenched in this eerie, unsettling vibe that surrounds this town and this sense that evil has stepped in. And the mystery itself, the story, the way that the plot unfolds is very clever. It's very similar to Barbarian. And I won't say anything more until a little bit later. If you're curious, you can hang around. But again, I just think go see this movie blind, let it unfold. I think you're going to have people that absolutely love this movie. You're going to have people that are feeling a little underwhelmed, and you might even have people that hate it. But I think overall, it's a good film. I don't think it necessarily lives up to the hype that its backstory provides it, which was this script sold for a record $38 million. New Line Cinema won it in a bidding war with Jordan Peele and his production company. Jordan Peele proceeded to fire his managers over losing this bidding war. So the hype that generated for this movie was immense. A lot of people have this as their most anticipated movie of the year. This could be the best horror movie ever. I wouldn't say it was that case for me. And, I'll again get into that in a little bit later. But as far as the atmosphere, the performances, let's stick with the acting right now. Julia Gardner and Josh Brolin are absolutely excellent. I think Josh Brolin has a couple really necessary moments of levity. He gives a grounded performance as a father, wondering what happened to his son. Julia Gardner has layers and dimensions to her character where she's not necessarily just, this great person who's been framed for something she didn't do. She's got layers and dimensions that she embeds into the character, that the script embeds into the character, where you definitely see she's a very flawed individual. And at times she's hard to root for, but you still manage to sympathize and empathize a little bit with her because it's a really, really good performance worthy of her talents. For the first time since, post Ozark, where she played Ruth, this is a script that is worthy of her. So, Benedict Wong is good in his role, and I don't know the actor's name. He plays a character named Jimmy, I think, and he is a bit of a Jimmy has some issues, and I don't think he deserved the screen time he got, though I could see a lot of people enjoying him the most because he really provides a decent amount of humor to the film. It lets the film take a step back, breathe before it kicks into the third act high gear. I just don't think he deserved the screen time he necessarily got. But besides that, overall, I would recommend seeing this. I think it would be fun with a crowded audience that's engaged and screaming and whooping at the scenes. My audience, to be fair, I saw this at the Santikos Palladium in San Antonio. They were absolute dog shit. It was a terrible audience. They just didn't add anything to the experience, which is always a bummer when you go to the movies. To me, that's part of the fun, is getting a good theater experience. It was not that at all. So we'll leave it there. I'll give you my rating. I think it's a very watchable horror film. I think it's a very watchable movie. I think it has the potential to be in my top 10 films of the year, but I don't think it lives quite up to the expectations, the lofty expectations that were hanging over its head. So with that, I'm going to get into minor spoilers, just minor. I'm not actually going to give any endings away or anything like that. I just want to break the little types of the way the story is framed and why I thought it was underwhelming. In a sense, it's still a good movie. I just don't think, it's not a must-see gem. It's not an all-time classic like I was hoping for. So the story itself is kind of told in this episodic chapter way. I think, what is the term? Rashomon style, where you jump from character to character's perspective, kind of bouncing back. We reframe scenes we saw with one character from the eyes of another, and it all weaves and winds until finally, at the end, everything comes together. And I think that works really well the first 3 times they do it. There, again, this Jimmy character who I could see being a lot of people's favorite character in the movie. I just don't think he needed the screen time he got. I think you cut 5 minutes out of his role and you keep this at like a tight 120-minute movie instead of, I think it was about 2 hours and 10 minutes. I think that would help. And also, when you have a mystery like this, you got to have the payoff for it to be worth it. And I just thought the reveal to me was a little underwhelming. The force behind the disappearance, and I think when that's revealed, the horror aspect of the movie really deflates, and you lose a lot of the tension, and you're just kind of waiting to see how it's resolved and wrapped up. So I was kind of disappointed by the reveal. Now, with that being said, the climax itself was absolutely batshit in a really good way, and cathartic, and not necessarily happy. And I will say, I think the last 5-10 seconds of this film just fell a little flat for me. That's real nitpicky, I guess, but would have just liked a little bit more resolution there. So that's my minor spoiler wrap up. Again, weapons for me, is a very watchable horror film. I think it's worth seeing in theaters. Go see with some friends. It'd be more fun with a packed, engaged audience. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments below. Have you seen Weapons? Do you agree with my review? I'm curious to hear, because this is a movie that, you know, could be better or worse upon repeat viewings. So, and one thing I didn't really cover, I'll just add this at the end, even though I know no one's going to see it, but I do think on a rewatch, Zach Kreger's script is smart enough to have all these little details that once I saw something, I was like, oh, I remember that. You know, there's a bunch of, that's right. So I think it will be an enjoyable rewatch in that sense. So, um, you know, yeah. So, Weapons, what did you think? Let me know. Give me a like. Give me a subscribe. I'm Jake Margo. This is Margo Watches Movies. As always, guys, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.